Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our European United Draft to Glory franchise mode here in NHL 26. So in last episode, if you did not catch it, we had the first round of the playoffs against the New York Rangers, and it was quite a successful round for us as we won our first ever playoff series. As you can see, first game we won 3-1. Then we had an injury to Forster, which made us have to put Gotchin in game 2. He ended up losing us for that game 4-1, so not a great effort from him. So it was a tie series at that point, but at least we took a game in New York. Then we found a way to win 3 more straight games, as you can see, 2-0, and we decided to end up putting in Kvalpal as a starter because Gotch wasn't great in game 2. Kvalpal ends up picking up a shutout. Then he was really good in game 4, and then Forster returned for a 4-3 shootout win, or not shootout win, overtime win, and basically get us to this next round. So we are very happy to be in the second round. We've never been in this position before, so I'm hoping that we could build off a great first round, but obviously it is going to be a tougher task in the second round because we are taking on New Jersey. We do have home ice advantage, but last year they were a really good team in the playoffs. I think they got to the Cup Finals, so they are definitely a team that's got a lot of experience compared to us, so it should be a tougher series nonetheless. If we actually look at the roster on paper as well, it definitely looks tougher than the Rangers in a way, so I'm kind of a little bit skeptical that our team might be able to do what we did to the Rangers, to the Devils as well, but we got to contain guys like Doughty, Hughes. Brat's still pretty good, I would say, for an 84, because in real life, I know he's a great player. In the simulation, he had 95 points this season, so he simulates still really good despite only being 84, and probably in one of the last years of his career, so it is a tough line to contain. Their second line's also pretty decent with Holloway, Lundell, and Brindley. Third liner has a guy named Rammer who's very fantastic. He's actually listed as a top 6 forward pretty much at this point. He's also a guy we got to find a way to shut down. And then you can see Dalmal, Moss, and in a fourth line of Turikov, Hemmerling, and Drury. So they have some very good depth on the right-hand side. Down the middle, they have some good depth, and same on that left side. And then from a defensive standpoint, you can see their defensive core is pretty much stronger than the Rangers' defensive core was. They do still have the stud like Luke Hughes here. And then you could also see, though, good complementary guys like Andre, Cleven's not bad, Schneider's not bad. And then Vandermeer and Dickinson are more top 6 defensemen, but they're still decent. But the one thing that they have that the Rangers didn't really is a starting goaltender. So Nicholas Prince is going to be tough to beat, 85 overall, and their backup is Arvid Soderblom. So it's going to be a tough series, but I am definitely hoping our team can at least find ways to win some of the games. If we find a way to a conference finals, it'd be fantastic. But obviously, it really depends on how the team does still without Paco, because Paco is still going to be out for a little bit longer. And same goes with Nakamura, so we'll have to wait for a couple more games at least before we get them back, and maybe once they're back, that could be the shot in the arm that takes this team from second round team to maybe conference finals or beyond that as well. So anyways, with that said, let's get you guys' comments, see what you guys have to say about last episode, and then we will get into the second round matchup with the New Jersey Devils. So the first 2 comments are from I'm the Quiet One, who says, did I just predict the series LMAO? I said 4 to 5 games. Also, classic Rangers injuring players to gain an advantage, at least to me. I'm happy that you beat the Rangers. Now you need to do the same to the Devils and avenge us. And yeah, the Rangers definitely, like, they did injure our goaltender somehow. At least he came back. He came Forster, like, it was only for a short bit. But I don't really know exactly what happened. It was near the end of the first game. So technically, Gotch played, I think, the last bit of that game. But yeah, when Forster's been playing in the lineup, he's been really good in this playoffs. As you can see, 2-0 record with a 9.59. So he's been fantastic. And then we also will be probably running Kvalpal still as our backup because he was really good. As you can see, 2-0 with a 1 shutout, a 979 save percentage, and a .5 goals against average. So we're going to be running this as our tandem for the playoffs, which means Gotch is going to be on the way outs for the time being. But maybe he'll get another chance in the playoffs depending if another goalie gets hurt or not. But like you get see, I was mentioning Paco and Nakamura are still hurt. Nakamura's almost fully healthy. Paco still has a few more, like a week or so before I think he returns. So once we get those guys back, our team should be even better than it currently is. And hopefully if it could impact kind of the series against the Devils if they do return on time. He also says, I want to add another comment. I thought Lundin of Nashville was medium or low elite when drafted. Of course, that high overall. And no, he was always a medium 4. But yeah, it was pretty crazy when he was drafted because I was not expecting a guy to be that high out of the draft. But he's been a solid player for Nashville. We'll definitely continue to keep tabs on him and see how he develops more as these years go on. But Definitely one of the better young defensemen out there, especially with all those X factors. 25 points in 70 games for a top 4 defenseman. That's only 20 is really good. His plus minus is decent. He hasn't gotten Nashville to a playoff spot, it looks like, yet, but definitely Nashville could be one of these teams that becomes a bit of a threat as these years go on. The next comment is from Nick Buckabaronzo, who says, "This is the year," and I hope so, but I honestly don't know for sure if it's the year that we could find a way to win this Stanley Cup, because obviously this is only our second ever playoff run, so there's still a lot of learning to go, but if this team could still make a really good run this year, obviously it would be really great to see, just because that way we can maybe turn this team into a team that wins more than one cup, or honestly just gets at least far in the playoffs from year on and year out. Like, we only have technically, I think at this point, we're 10 seasons in, so I think we have like another 15 or so seasons left of this franchise mode. Maybe, are we 10 seasons into this? I think we are, right? Yeah, 2025, 26 is real life. So it's 2035, 36. So technically, I think maybe it's actually 11 technically. But we still have a lot of seasons left to this, which is great. So we have a lot of opportunity to win a Stanley Cup, of course, as long as we maintain this roster going forward, which I definitely think we can do, but it depends on what players are demanding and that type of thing with their contracts. In a last and final comment is from Dylan Burrows, who says, "Gotch in the press box moving forward unless an injury happens." And yeah, that is the plan, as Gotch will be the third goaltender, just because Kvapil was really good when he played, and Gotch was rather disappointing when he played his only game this playoffs. I didn't actually show you guys his stats, but his one and only game that he played, he technically played 2 because he came in relief, like I said, in game 1, but you can see a 1-1 record with an .839 save percentage and a 4.42, so he was by far the worst of the 3, so that's why he's going to be on the bench to start. But obviously next season, again, he'll probably be our backup. And we might still hold on to Kvapil in the offseason, but it really depends. I might not, because guys like Simic might be ready enough for a backup job soon to the NHL. Cantor could be a third-string guy in the NHL when we still have Simic and Ambull in the AHL. I'm not too sure, but at least we have 3 goalies in each league, which is good to see. And at some point, we're going to have to start letting go of some of these lower-end ones. But Kvapil definitely has been a really staple piece in that back-end spot. He used to be the starter for a little bit too, but obviously got overtaken by Forster. So with that said, I think we're ready to get into this matchup. We'll keep up our lineup the exact same. We are the best defensive team in the playoffs right now. The Devils are the second best, but the Devils have that offense that we don't really right now. So I'd like our team to obviously start scoring more goals if possible, but obviously not sacrificing that defensive play too. So let's get into this matchup with that home ice advantage and see if we can use it to our advantage and somehow find a way to a conference finals. All right, let's see what happens in game 1. Hopefully we can build off that nice overtime victory goal from Bradford. Obviously that was a fun moment in that last episode, so who knows, maybe we'll get some overtime heroics in this series as well. But let's see what happens in game 1. Now let's get off to a good start in front of our fans if possible. First period. Scoreless? Yeah, scoreless. Okay, I'll take that. That's better than being obviously down. And I feel like since we're one of the best defensive teams, and they were the second best defensive team, this could be the type of series that's very low scoring. But then again, the New Jersey Devils do have that offense, so who knows really if it's going to be an offensive series at times. But I do feel like it's going to be really tight checking type of games. We outshot them 11-4, so we are definitely playing good defensively, not giving them much to take a shot at. And obviously it's easy for a goaltender to make a couple saves like that in the first, but also he might not be warmed up enough going into the second, so we got to be careful that we don't limit their shots too much, where basically our goaltender's save percentage drops off a cliff because he's not ready for the next shot and all that. So can we find a way to get that lead in a second? Who wants to be the guy to give us that lead? Second period. And it's still scoreless. All right, well, they outshot us in that period for sure, but shots are 18-15 in favor of us, but so far, very much exactly what we anticipated with the goals against. It's good to see that the Devils, even though they're a good offensive team, they're having trouble scoring against us, because that means our defensive strengths are definitely still working. But obviously, it would be nice to see our team start scoring more goals too, because like I said, our offense has been not the greatest. It said 2.6 goals against, or goals for, I should say, in this playoff so far. So it would be nice to see our team start to score more. But like I said, I don't really want to sacrifice our defensive play for our offense either. So let's find a way to get that lead in the third period, or maybe it's going to be one of these overtime games again. Third period underway. Who wants to give us that lead? Penalty kill to start the third. We kill it off. We get a power play of our own, but we do not score. And now the Devils score, and it's the guy that I mentioned that we got to watch out for, Brat. But Roger Green answers back. So there was a brief moment where a team had a lead for like 2 minutes. but at least we answer back, and then we make a big penalty kill there. I think it was a 5-on-3 penalty kill briefly. Final few minutes of this third period, and we are going to overtime in game 1, which means I technically don't jump into game 1 overtimes, but I feel like we got to watch every single overtime game, right? It makes it a lot more fun in my opinion. So since we're on home ice as well, we might as well do it. Shots are 26-24. It's a 1-1 game. Let's watch this overtime and see who could be a potential hero for us on home ice. Obviously, our last game that we played, Bradford, like I said, won the game, but that was on the road. So we have not seen fully in overtime, I guess, technically on our own home ice. So hopefully we get some good results here, and hopefully we could find a way to get that winner by all means necessary. It could be a greasy goal. It could be an absolutely awesome goal. I don't really care, but let's find a way to win this and take a 1-0 series lead if possible. Also, I need to drink more water because my voice always feels like shit when I record for some reason. All right, here we go. Opening face-off of overtime. Benak versus Jack Hughes. Can we win the draw? Yes, we can. Good job, Benak. Here is Hromis on the pass from Antonio. He found Klinga. Klinga can't get in. Now it's with Bratt as the Devils break out, but Hromis makes a great pick-off. Here comes Klinga. He's been one of our best players offensively in the playoffs. He finds Hromis, and he stopped. Rebound is turned away, too. Quick chances there for Hromis, but he cannot score on them. As we almost have full pressure if we could get possession back of this puck, which I don't know if we are. No, we're not going to. That kind of sucks. Here's Jack Hughes using those wheels. Can't get a shot. Doughty tries to shoot it through. Good defensive play there by Dave Antonio, but then he turns it over, but then he makes a great recovery play. Klinga over to Lee. Lee finds Benak over to Antonio. If we could get these wins early and then Paco returns, we're going to be awesome. So there's a good chance for Dave Antonio. That's turned away as well as we have the first 3 shots of overtime. We had full pressure briefly, but we can't hold on to it as Doughty gets out of the zone. Makes a move. Good stand-up play there by Lee. Here is Law now out there. Law's with it. Law, the fighter, shoots it. Turned away. We've had a lot of shots to start this overtime. Bradford to Barrett. That's turned away. Loose puck in there. Bradford tries to knock it in, but he can't. If Bradford scores another overtime winner, that'd be surprising, but some good chances to start off this overtime for your Europe United. It seems weird saying your Europe United because it's like literally a tongue twister. Try and say that 10 times fast. Anyways, we have our second line out there of Green, Law, and McElhinney. It's still Law and Antonio, or Lee and Antonio at the point, looks like. Law throws it over, can't find McElhinney. Here is Holloway. Holloway throws it over. Roger Green with a great interception. This line has our only goal tonight. Law makes a good move. Law will just dump it down in deep. Some good forechecking by this line. Holloway finds Burnley. Here comes the Devils now with it. Burnley makes a move. Can't get past Dave Antonio. Great work on defense from Dave. Here's Law. He's kind of tired. He turns it over. Holloway. Over. A great hit there. I don't know who that was. Oh, man. That was McElhinney, I think. Goddamn. Green. Roger Green up front. That pass doesn't get through. And here comes the Devils. A little bit of an odd man rush. Dickinson with it. Dickinson can't get through, though. Roger Green. He gets stuck against the boards, but now it's with our defenseman. Dave Antonio throws it all the way up. It's now in the stick of Benak, who's back out there again. Benak turns it over, but gets it back again. Green gets it back to Benak. Benak throws it over, and Clevin intercepts it. That was a bit of a risky pass, but at least it was a good chance, potentially. Turikov gets that loose puck first, but he can't get a shot on net. Here comes Benak. Our captain over to Nichols. Nichols, the fourth liner, with a shot that's turned away as Benak's back out there again. Maybe Benak's out there with the fourth line, so which means maybe our fourth liner got hurt, because I don't know why else he would be out there with Nichols. Here's Rammer for the Devils. He'll shoot it, turned away. A little bit of a dangerous third liner, like I mentioned. That was a weird pass that almost found a way in. Rammer tries to knock it in, and it still doesn't work. Our defensemen need to make a change, because Antonio's been out there for like the entire first half of this overtime. I don't know why, though. Dickinson tries to kick it around. Some good forecheck by the United, but Rammer will break it out. Turikov finds Holloway. Holloway's tired. He'll shoot it. That's turned away as well. A lot of players are gassed on this shift. Jesus, Antonio turns it over. Holloway can't jam it in. Yeah, Antonio was literally out there for, I think, 13 minutes to start that overtime. If I'm not mistaken, it seemed like he was literally out there for the entire time, but Benak got killed. Nobody stepped up to fight, but I don't think I think it's because Law wasn't on the ice. If Law was on the ice, he probably would have fought him. Anyways, both teams' third lines out there. We have Barrett versus Dalmont on the draw, and Dalmont wins it. Here's Schneider over to Moss. Can't get a shot for the Devils. Mullen will throw it up. Actually, it's our fourth line out there, I think. Yeah, I think our fourth line's still out there. So I guess never mind, there wasn't an injury. Maybe just not a line change that happened. Albatozer turns it over. Here's Moss with the puck, and that's a big save there. As a bit of a disappointing turnover from Albatozer. Here's Mullen. Mullen holds on to the puck, throws it to Bradford. That deflects off a stick and gets to the net, as Bradford has been that type of guy in overtime. He has that mojo on his stick, so he tried to get a good chance, but it was turned away. But yeah, Bradford got knocked over on that hit. The Devils seem like a pretty physical team, but then again, we kind of seem like that as well. That's a big hit, though. That's 3 hits on the night for Moss for them. So their third line's definitely more of a checking line, I guess. All right, here we go. Face off. It's both teams' top lines. Or no, it's their top line versus our third line. Jack Hughes versus Barrett on the draw. Come on, Barrett. Barrett will tie up, and we get possession of the puck. Bradford trying to dig it away. Can't. Here's Jack Hughes. Jack Hughes throws it all the way up. That was almost offside, but a good stand-up defensive play there. Urquhart over to Barrett. Barrett throws it to Mullen. Here comes Mullen. He can't get by. Schneider with it. This game might go to double overtime. This first overtime is going really quickly. Here's Klinga. As we have our top line back out there again. Klinga holding on to that puck. Throws it up front. Loose puck in front. I don't know if that hit the post. That looked close. I don't know what happened there. But that was a really close chance. I got to go back to that play. And that play is apparently offsides. But what the heck happened there? Because I feel like there was a really good chance here for us to score. Klinga drove to the net. Good chance there for Maltby. The defenseman turned away. And then this loose puck was there. And Barrett just can't find that loose puck. With the goalie sprawled out. Then again, that would be probably a hard shot to score on because the goalie's covering all that lower portion of the net. But if only Barrett could have found that. But it's kind of crazy that Maltby would jump in that much on offense. But maybe that's why his plus-minus is so atrocious. Because he's the one that's in the lineup because of Paco's injury. So, anyways, both teams' first line still out there. Benak versus Hughes. Can he win it? No, he can't. Hughes throws it to... it's Doughty with it now. Bratt shoots. Big save there. As both teams are getting chances now. Here's Benak, the captain, turns it over. Luke Hughes turns it over. Hromis trying to break 3. Hromis shoots it. 2 turned away by Prince. I thought there was a rebound there. As a great individual chance there from Hromis. Out of nothing. And if we could win this face-off, we could have full pressure again. So some good work here in Game 1. Yeah, I don't know if it's a good idea to always watch Game 1 overtimes, but I feel like it's just a lot of fun just to watch overtime in general. It's more fun than actually just seeing it happen in the submission, so to speak. But here we are again. Here's Benak finding Hromis. Hromis still has a lot of speed. Hromis can't get the pass in, but Benak finds it to Klinga. Klinga can't get the shot past Andre. As Andre made a great defensive play. Klinga took a cross-checking penalty, though. He got over-aggressive. And it looks like we're going to be on the penalty kill for the rest of this first overtime. As, yeah, like I said, Klinga took a cross-checking penalty. He got over-aggressive because Andre blocked his shot. As they'll go over and talk to Andre Tourney, our head coach. It's kind of funny to see Tourney's game face because I don't think I've seen it before. But, yeah, Klinga hitting to the box, that's not ideal. But, yeah, he kind of got really aggressive there. So we got to have our penalty killers doing some good work here, which they have done some good work, I think, during this playoffs for the most part, if I'm not mistaken. But, obviously, it's a little bit nerve-wracking being on the penalty kill in overtime. All right, we have Miller and Law out there. So the youngster and Miller, and then Law, of course, our physical presence. Maltby's also out there, and I can't see who else. All the way out front, great save there on the backdoor pass. That was a dangerous passing play by the Devils. Holloway throws it back to the point man, Schneider. Good poke check there. Here's Law. He'll just dump it. Smart play. We could have went for a shorthanded chance, but in an overtime playoff game, you don't know if you really want to go for those opportunities, but Miller intercepts that chance. That shot goes wide. As apparently our penalty kill is getting a little bit aggressive offensively. I don't mind it. Here's down all over to Moss. Moss for the Devils over. And that guy tried to dive home an overtime goal. Tried to be a Bobby Orr, but he could not even get the shot. And Lee should have this easily to clear. He does. He finds Miller. Miller short-handed in overtime. 1-on-2. He'll throw a weak shot. Doesn't even get to the net. But he'll still pick up the puck. Miller. Maltby can't get a deflection to the net. Loose puck. Miller finds it. That's turned away. What an effort on this penalty kill from Miller. Miller is a two-way forward after all, but he and McLean and all these guys are just hounding them down. That was great play. What a hit. What an open ice hit from Lee. And then they try and take a shot through, but they can't. And then Lee, I think, threw another hit there with that truculence. And we will be going to double overtime in Europe. Wow. That was a really cool shift. That was quite the hit by Lee at the end of that overtime. But we got a double overtime scenario. I don't mind it. I do not mind it. Double overtimes are pretty cool. Also, Dave Bluzinski must be in the crowd watching this Europe game. We got to find Dave Bluzinski here just for an extra thing. Just because it'd be kind of cool to have like an emote of Dave in my Discord with a Europe United jersey on. Like this guy right here. There he is, kind of. I think that's him almost. Let's just zoom into him. And we'll make a screenshot of that. And maybe I'll put that in the Discord. I hate this controller drift. What the hell, man? If you guys have been watching any of my other series, you know that I have bad controller drift. And you can see it automatically just scrolls down randomly out of nowhere. It's friggin' annoying. Anyways, I will maybe use that as an emote in my Discord and call it like Europe Dave or something like that. Just because it'd be kind of cool to tie both my series together. But anyways, double overtime. Still on the penalty kill for 47 seconds. Miller's done a good job at killing a good chunk of it. Lee, was that threw that hit again, or was that somebody else? I think that was Urquhart. I don't even know who that was, but that was another big hit, as we're up to 40 hits in the game as a team. Good work there by Miller, trying to keep this puck in their zone. Miller is definitely a really solid penalty killer for his overall, it seems like. Good stick there by Dave Antonio, and he clears it out. Nice. Wasn't too sure. Okay, let's get that puck back. Hughes with it for the Devils. Hughes holds on, finds Holloway. Yikes, big save there. Your goaltender has to be good too, and a great pick-off from Miller, and he clears it. Miller is really surprising me, and that puck somehow got by the goaltender. That would have been interesting if something happened out of that, but yeah, good penalty kill there by the boys, especially Miller. We got to give him the major props on that penalty kill. Like, he hounded them down for a while, and he keeps this team alive in this game. Can we find a way to get an overtime winner now is the question, or is this going to be one of those really, really long games? Because we still have a lot of the series left to go too, so I kind of want it to not be super long, but I want to win this game, so. Here is McElhinney over to Antonio, I think that was again. Antonio turns it over, but Lee will help him out. Here's McElhinney. McElhinney over to Benak. Benak gets a weak shot, can't get all of it. Prince will easily grab it as we have a face-off in their zone again. Oof. Yeah, I'm already like 20 minutes into this recording, and we're only in game one, but honestly, I don't care if this episode's really long. I think it's kind of fun just to watch these overtimes and see all this gameplay. Like, look at that hit from Antonio. We would never have saw that if we didn't jump in. So, I think it's good just to watch these type of games, regardless if it's game one or everything like that. It's probably better for elimination games, but at the same time, I want to just see all these historic moments for this team, right? Benak wins the draw. Here's Lee over to Antonio. Antonio shoots it, deflected to the net, and Hromis can't get that by. That was an interesting deflection. Kind of came out of nowhere as Rammer gets stood up. And here is Benak on the back check. He gets almost stood up. Lee finds Klinga. Klinga trying to bust it through. Can't, but now he's got Hromis with him. Hromis shoots it, turned away. Some good effort there from this top line. Here's Dalmo for the Devils. He'll take it over to Dickinson. Dickinson finds Rammer. That's barely onside. Rammer shoots it. Forster will make the save, and he'll freeze it. Yeah, Forster's been good in this overtime. Our defensive play, I feel like, has been good. I feel like we have definitely a lot more speed to our game than we did last year. Because last year when we were watching some of the games, it was kind of like a little bit boring. When we were playing the Habs, I think we watched a little bit. But I think our team is definitely a little bit more competitive this year. Like, we don't look as slow out there. Here's Schneider for the Devils. Finds it to Turikov. Turikov tries to make a move. He got by, and he still has it. Yikes. Turikov walking in. Big save there. As Turikov walked around our guys, he intercepts it and keeps it in. Here's the Devils with it. Drury shoots. Great shot block. Good defensive play there by Bradford. He finds Albatozer, and they get it out. Good job, guys. Mullen to Barrett. Over to Bradford. He can't get by as we're on our heels a little bit here now. As Vandermeer tries to break in, his shot's turned away. Albatozer's hit in front of the net, and that was scary, as Brad Andrews has it. Albatozer gets stick checked. Albatozer's kind of stressing me out a little bit right now. But he's in the last year of his contract, but it wouldn't be bad to hold on to him still longer. Great defensive play by Nichols. Nichols to Lua in fourth line forward. He gets slashed from behind, I think, but no penalty call. Maybe that was a stick lift. I don't even know, but no penalty on the Devils there. If it was a better player there, we could have got a breakaway out of that. Brindley walks in. Big save by Forster with the glove. Ooh, this almost feels like a 3-on-3 overtime the way it's going back and forth kind of a bit, but my god. I thought we were going to get a good breakaway out of that chance for Nichols, but he's a low-end forward, so he doesn't have that speed. If it was somebody like Hromis, we could have got a good breakaway out of that. Luke Hughes can't get a shot. McElhaney finds Maltby. Maltby cuts back. He's just kind of stressing me out here too. Roger Green to Law, and we do get out, which means no pressure. Yeah, no pressure. Good. Urquhart found Green. Roger Green, a shot that's turned away. Big rebound. The goalie came way out of his crease, which is a little bit scary, too, for them. Here comes Holloway. Holloway for New Jersey. Can't get by Urquhart. He finds McElhaney. McElhaney to Law. Law. Man, this game might go to triple overtime potentially at this rate. I don't know if I've seen a triple overtime game in franchise before. Burnley throws it over. That's somehow onside. Holloway throws it back over as Lee had to be careful not to knock that in his own net. Lee with it. All the way up to Helmer. Helmer, who's only in the lineup because of the injury to Nakamura. Helmer forechecking nicely as our team can't get back that puck possession. The Devils are playing better probably in this overtime than the last one. Here's Dalmont. Over to Hughes. Luke Hughes shoots and he scores. What the hell was that? I didn't even see that go in. And the New Jersey Devils, unfortunately, will take the game on our home ice. So that was kind of a waste of time watching all that. But I kind of wanted to see our guys play out there still. So I apologize if you guys were expecting us to potentially get a victory in that one, but damn, man, that sucks. Because I feel like we played really good in that first overtime, and in the second overtime, they started getting their legs going. Luke Hughes finds it over to, who was it? To Dalmont, and he finds it over to Luke Hughes, and this is just a shot. Oh, that's a cheesy goal, kind of. Good save with the blocker initially, but then it bounces off the inside on our goalie, of course, and Forster's like, goddamn, man. So that's a sucks, that loss, but I think it was a good effort still from the team, and we can't really complain too much. The Devils are definitely a tougher team, so, but our player stats in this game, Green, Law, and McElhaney with the only points. Any badly minus guys, Barrett was a -2. Not ideal, but Forster still put up really good numbers. So I'm still really impressed with how our team has been defensively, but we need to get that offense going. And I think a big way to get that offense going is obviously getting our guys back from injury. So if Nakamura is fully healthy for this next game, that'd be great. But, oh, he is. It says he's fully recovered. So Nakamura will be back for game 2, which means we could take Helmer out of the lineup. And then Paco should be back within a few days still. But that could be a huge boost, having Nakamura back as that 83 sniper. So we'll do that as our lineup adjustment. Nakamura being back in. Is he back on the power play too? Let me double check on that, because he should be. Yes, he is. Okay, perfect. All right, so yeah, Nakamura being back, like I said, could be a very important thing for the series. Paco is still out for a little bit longer, but at least we have something that can maybe give us a little bit more offense from our team. Because, yeah, right now, we're only averaging 2.33 goals for per game. We're only giving up 1.83. So we're still great defensively. But, like I said, I want to get that offense going a little bit more so. But that's a tough first game. But the good thing is it's only a 1-0 series for them. So let's find a way to get redemption on them in this game. And then hopefully we could at least find a way to win one game in New Jersey. Because obviously if we lose both games in New Jersey, regardless if we win this game, would be in a bad spot. So can we get redemption for that overtime game? And can we find our offensive game? Can Nakamura make an impact? First period. 2-0 us. Good start. Barrett and Miller. Barrett is good as a third-line guy. Miller, I've been really impressed with Miller, at least in this series. He had a goal last round, I think, too. But the way we saw him play in that first game, he looks like he's a really solid player for his overall rating. And the fact that he scores here in game 2 is fantastic. Shots are 11-9 in favor of the Devils, but we're up by a pair of goals, so we did find our offensive game already. And obviously, if we continue to play good defensively the rest of this game, we could find definitely a way to tie the series up. So let's see what happens in the second period. See if we can maintain this lead or get some more insurance. Second period. 4-2. Okay, I mean, it's not great that they scored 2 goals, but we scored 2 as well. So it kind of offset it a bit. McElhaney made it 3-0. Bratt made it 3-1. Green made it 3-2. Or 4-2, or 4-1, I should say at that point. And then Hughes pulls them back within 2. But Roger Green power play goal. I think that might be one of our first power play goals of the playoffs. But this is definitely a better offensive game for our team. And still a strong defensive game so far. Shots are 22-19. They only have 2 goals. If we could obviously play a good defensive third period, this series will be tied up. So let's see what happens in the third. See if we could make sure they do not come back. Third period underway. And maybe Nakamura could give us some more insurance too. Because, like I said, that's one of the reasons why he's one of our better players in that third line, is he could help us out with that goal scoring a little bit, considering he's on the power play and all that as well. Great penalty kill there by the boys in the third period. Roger Green scores again. Roger Green's been great too, and that makes it 5-2. Power play for us late in the game, and we will be tying the series up, headed to New Jersey with a convincing victory and a very good effort again from Forster and net, making 28 of 30 saves. And like I said, the series is tied. So that is the type of game I want to see from our team. Still playing great defensively, but also finding that offensive edge a bit. So Barrett from Bradford and Nakamura, Miller from Mullen and Albatozer, McElhinney from Law and Green, Green from Law and Nakamura, and Green from Lee. So yeah, a lot of the guys that are picking up points in the series so far are kind of underrated players. So it's really good to see other lines show up. Like Green had 3 points, Law and Nakamura had 2 points. And Nakamura returns to the lineup. Doesn't score goals like we anticipate him to, but does pick up 2 assists. So definitely a huge impact player and a lot of 1-point players. Obviously, there shouldn't be really any minus players other than the fourth line, apparently, but that's okay. Miller did have a goal, and Mullen had an assist. And then another great goaltending performance from Forster. He's been probably one of our MVPs of the playoffs so far up to this point. So Green first star, Forster second star, and Law the third star. All right. Yeah, Law's interesting. Did he fight anybody in that game out of curiosity, since it was a sim game? No, he did not. We did have a double minor penalty in that third period, so that's probably why they got a lot of shots. But looks like Law is knowing that he needs to not fight every single game, and it looks like he's doing really good in terms of offense still, which is also good. So Paco is eligible to play again, it says, but I don't think he's healthy yet, because I'm pretty sure it said he would be fully healthy by the 5th. So even though I really like Paco, I can't put him back in the lineup till he's actually fully healthy. Just because if he's not healthy, he will get re-injured, and then we will never see him again this entire playoff run. So I'd prefer for him to still sit in the press box, but he is very close to being reactivated, which is absolutely huge, just because of what he could bring to us offensively. Because last year in the playoffs, 5 points in 6 games. So I'm hoping he doesn't make our defensive play really bad, but I'm excited for Paco to return, hopefully in these next few games. But obviously right now I prefer to play the caution card and let him still sit from the press box. And then obviously once he's fully healthy, he'll come in and play a lot of minutes on this team. So for the time being, we got to keep the rest of this the same, I think. And we need to get into the next game in New Jersey. So can we find a way to win games on the road? So far, we've been a pretty solid road team. So it'd be nice to see if our team could also win in New Jersey, as we look to potentially take at least one of these 2 games, because we could still be in a bad spot if we lose both these games. So we need to take at least one, if possible. Both these teams are 5-2 in the playoffs as well, so it's been pretty tit for tat, so to speak. So let's see what happens. Game 3, see if we could still have that good offensive style from last game while maintaining that great defense that we've had all playoffs long so far. First period. Scoreless? Yep, scoreless. I'll take it. I'll take it. Obviously, it means that our offense has dropped off a little bit from last game so far, but our defensive game has always been a super big strength so far in this playoffs. Obviously, I feel like at some point there's going to be a game where obviously we don't play great defensively, but right now I've been really impressed with the goaltenders, the defensive play in front of the goalies, especially in that game that we watched. It seemed like we definitely played really good with our hitting, our blocking, that type of thing. Anyway, shots are 12-5 in favor of us, so we generated some good chances, but their goaltender has been good so far. Can we find a way to break this deadlock in the second period? Second period. And it's 2-0 Devils. That's probably the worst period we've had in a while, in a way, when you think about it. And that's probably, this might be one of those games that as our worst defensive game in a while. Going down by a pair of goals going into the third is not great. We are out shooting them still 22-17, but their top line of Hughes and Bratt has been a factor in this game so far. We could definitely still come back and win this game, so we're not out of the out yet. But it would be nice to see if our team could start finding ways to come back in this third period. Obviously, we need to find a way to win next game if we do in fact lose this game. So can we have a good third period and maybe claw back? If we score an early goal, we could still win. And like I said, Paco being back relatively soon could change the series too. So Obviously, we got to hope for that when he returns. But third period underway. Can we get back into this game early? Let's see. Come on, guys. Power play for us to start the third. We do pull within one. It's a power play goal from Hromis. So good to see one of our best players scoring. And then they score on a power play of their own. I don't know who took that penalty, but Vandermeer restores that 2-goal advantage. It's not a great penalty, whoever took it, but it is what it is. Our penalty kill has been relatively good, but of course it had to let a goal in there. And then Moss scores to make it 4-1, and that will be the finals. So it looked close until it wasn't. Sucks whoever took that penalty, but it is what it is. I'm not going to complain too much because I still feel like our team has been pretty decent up to this point. But who took that penalty in that third? It was Dave Antonio. High-sticking double minor. And that's how they end up getting that goal after. That's unfortunate. Well, our only goal in this game was Hromis from Benak and McElhaney. And apparently that's Hromis' first goal of the playoffs. So we need Hromis to start scoring maybe a bit more. But any badly plus-minus players, Benak was a -2. And then goaltending, yeah, that was definitely Forster's worst game in a while. Forster literally allowed 4 goals and had a 4 goals against average. So obviously you can't put the can't spell Forster without 4, but a different type of 4, I guess. But their top players take over in that game. Hughes and Bratt, and then of course Prince was really good in that too. So that's a tough one. But obviously it's only a 2-1 series, so as long as we find a way to bounce back in this next game, I think we'll be okay. But obviously if we lose this game, it's going to be a huge uphill climb. And Paco is fully recovered, which is exactly what we need to maybe change the complexion, like I said, of the series. So we are trailing right now, but will Paco help this team win a shit ton of games? Sorry, Maltby, you're going to come out of the lineup. So far, you haven't actually been that bad in the playoffs. You've been a +1 with 2 points, but we got to take you out, my man. You are an offensive defenseman, but we need the Paco back in, who's apparently a 92 now, so he jumped up even more. But we have to knock Albatozer down, I think it was. Yeah, I think it was something like this that we ran. Yeah, it was something like this for sure. Yeah, it definitely was, because this -1, I remember it. Because if we go like this, actually gets rid of the 0, which is not bad, but I don't want Urquhart being on the top 6. I mean, I could have him on the top 6, but I think for right now, we'll go with something like that. And in goaltending, obviously, still will stay the same. Everything else will stay the same. Let me go to power play and make sure Paco's on. He is. That's good. So the return of the Pac. Return of the Pac. Or else, we could also call him Pac-Man if we really want to, but I am really excited to see what he could do. He missed the last 4 games of the season, and he's been a major player for this team. So, come on, Paco. You got this, man. You're in the thumbnail for a reason. I believe in you, man. Let's have a good first playoff game back this year, and let's help this team to victory. If you could help us win this series, then you could end up helping us get further than the third round as well, my guess. But obviously, if we get to the third round, we might have to face off against a really good team regardless. So let's see what happens here anyways. This is a kind of a must-win game, or else we're going to have to come back from 3-1. So can we find a way to win a game in New Jersey before we head back home with Paco in the lineup? Come on, Paco. I believe in you, dude. You're the red-bearded man. You can do it. First period. Scoreless. Okay. Once again, I don't really like that our offense has been kind of inconsistent this playoffs, but it is okay. They are outshooting us 13-9, so we're still playing great defensively with Paco in, which is good. But obviously, I'm hoping Paco being back could change our team from being like a bad offensive team and a good defensive team to a good defensive team still, but good offense as well. So I'm hoping that we could see some goals coming from our team in the second. We had a lot of goals in game 2, but we haven't scored a lot since. Second period. Still scoreless. All right. This is another very close game. Kind of similar to game 1, which isn't ideal because obviously they won that game. But shots are 21-19 in favor of them. It's been scoreless so far. It's a goaltending matchup right now. Prince versus Forster. Which one of them is going to buckle first? Can we find a way to get that lead in the third? And who wants to be that guy for us? Third period underway. Come on, guys. We got to get that lead. Got to get it. Doesn't matter who it is on the team. Damn it. Sam Dickinson makes it 1-0 Devils. That's unfortunate. Do we have a response? Come on, boys. We have Paco back in the lineup. And Bradford scores. Let's go, Bradford. The OT guy from round 1. That's a big goal from Tony at this point. Final few minutes here. And oh my goodness. Hemmerling of all people. That's their 4th line center. And we lose 2-1 in regulation. Damn it. I thought it was going to go at least to overtime. But now we have to come back from a 3-1 deficit, and our offense needs to be maybe put into a bit of a blender. Great goaltending game again from Forster, but unfortunately he gives up a late goal. And unfortunately, we're going to be down in the dumps after we had a pretty solid start to this round, I think, because that overtime game we lost in game 1, honestly, we could have won it, and in game 2, we won. So it could have been a tie series at this point, but something is not clicking offensively. So our only goal is Bradford from Nakamura and Barrett as we are pushed to the brink. Any crazy penalties? Only one penalty all game. It was an elbowing penalty to Nakamura. Interesting. Well, we got to win 3 straight. So it's going to be kind of tough. Paco was a -1 in that game, but he did play 27 minutes. He had 6 shots on goal in his return. Paco loves to shoot the puck, man. And yeah, like I said, Forster's been probably our MVP of this playoff so far. He gets second star of the game above Hemmerling, who had the game-winning goal. And then, yeah, Prince has been really good for the Devils. It's definitely been a goaltending matchup of the series, except for Game 2, I guess, and Game 3. But obviously now we return to home ice being down 3-1. And we got to find our offensive game. We've had 5 goals in one game, but every other game we've only scored 1 goal in. So I definitely want to see our team score more. So we're going to make some line adjustments and try to get the offense flowing a bit better. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to move Benak to the second line. We're going to give Roger Green some top line time. Aside from that, I think also Nakamura is going to go into the top 6. Yeah, he's going to go into the top 6, and we're going to move Law to the third line because he's more of a checking guy. Bradford's going to go back to his normal side too. So we're going to go Law, Barrett, Bradford, Nakamura, Benak, McElhinney, Klinga, Green, and Taromis. Fourth line will stay the same. And then defensively, we are going to do Urquhart down with Albatozer, Andrews with Lee, Paco, and Antonio still. And goaltending, obviously, Forster's still going to be in that spot. So that's what we're going to run with. And we got to hope that, obviously, we could find a way to win 3 straight games. It's kind of funny, though, literally going into the series, we've been better technically with the guys that were scratched because of the injury replacements. Like, we were better with Maltby and Helmer in the lineup than we've been so far with Paco and Nakamura in the lineup, technically, in terms of wins. But Nakamura still, I think, obviously, him being in the top 6 could do some good work. He's got 3 assists in 3 games, so he's been really effective. I want Paco to arrive so far. Like I said, he was good in that first game, but of course he could not find a way to score a goal. So he shoots the puck a ton. We need him to shoot a lot in this next game and find us a way to get it to a Game 6, and then hopefully we can get it to a Game 7 as well. But got to take it one period at a time. Like I said, I won't be disappointed if we end up losing here in the second round, but I really hope that this team could find a way to somehow come back. But if not, it's not the end of the world. We still have a lot of years to go where we're going to be a competitive team, I think, in my opinion. So let's get to this next game and see if we could survive. We'll do a real-time simulation. Can we win on home ice and force a Game 6? Let's see how we do. Let's see how we do. And hopefully Paco could get on the score sheet in this game because, like I said, he is the man. He is the man. All right, and Bratt scores first for the Devils early on. Not great start for Forster. But obviously he usually sets in pretty much after giving up a goal early, at least in my opinion. Can we find a way to answer back? Our offense has been pretty quiet so far, so we really needed to step up here if we want to find a way to get back in this series. The shots are 12-10 in favor of us, but we still have that goal scoring problem. We've only been scoring around like pretty much a goal a game, other than, like I said, that one victory we had. So I need somebody to step up in the second if possible. Not too sure who, but somebody needs to. Second period underway. We need that next goal, boys. And we do get it, and it is Paco. I called on him, and he delivers. So Paco scores in his second game back. Maybe he could be an X factor in this game, but Hemmerling gives them back the lead. He had the game winner last game, so that's not ideal. Power play for us. We do not score on it. Come on, boys. I want to score more than 1 goal in this game, if possible. I know it's tough, but we got to find a way to do it. And unfortunately, we're going to be down 2-1 going into the third, despite outshooting them 25-19. So, yeah, Prince, their goaltender, has probably been the main reason why they've won a lot of these games, unfortunately. He did play really good in that overtime game that we went to in Game 1, so kind of makes some sense. But I really hope that this team could find our offense in the third, because obviously this could be the last period, potentially, of this round, and us getting eliminated, of course. So let's have a good third period here. It's nice to have Paco on the board, but I want more offense. Like I said, that's why we made these line adjustments. third period underway. We need that next one. We need that next one. Don't care who it is, but Mullen, Bradford, somebody on the team, find a way. Come on, boys. Penalty kill. Stop taking penalties too, please. Thank you. Good penalty kill. We're still down by a goal. Final few minutes. Please, somebody. Come on. Who wants to be that guy and tie it up for us? And the answer is nobody. Rammer hits the empty netter. Dalmal hits the empty netter to make that last game look way worse than it is. But unfortunately, they win 4-1 in this game, and they win the series also in 5 games. Well, that sucks. It sucks because I think, like, for the most part, our defensive play in that round was good. Obviously, there's been some games where we allowed a little bit more goals, like this game, but 2 of them are empty net goals. I think, obviously, the main problem was definitely the offense. So, obviously, we still need to find ways to get more offense from our lineup. But in general, to get to the second round in our second ever playoff run is fantastic. It just sucks that we ran into a team that went to the finals last year. I think if we would have ran into an easier opponent, we could have definitely beat them. But the Devils kind of under-assimilated during the season, and now it looks like they could be a cup contender this year. So, our only goal was Paco for McElhinney, and that's the only one we end up getting. Unfortunately, we have to pack our bags. The good thing is we were on home ice that last game, so we don't have to travel too far. But yeah, Paco is good, but we had some really bad plus-minus from Law, Urquhart, Bradford, Albertozer, Barrett, Nichols, and Lee. So basically, a lot of the guys kind of in the bottom 6 for the most part. And then Mullen, Miller, and Andrews as well. And then good stuff from Forster. They were probably out there for those empty net goals, I guess. That's why their plus-minus was so bad. But Forster literally was probably our best player this entire playoff run, I think. He got second star again in that loss. But yeah, we could not find ways to solve Prince. Prince was way too good, and our offense was abysmal in that round. So unfortunately, we're going to lose in round 2. But like I said, it's only up from here, hopefully. Like, hopefully next year this team has a little bit of more of a boost offensively, and we could get to a conference finals. But it's this team should be getting closer and closer to being a 50-win team during the season, in my opinion. Anyways, in terms of player stats for the playoffs, our final stats, Klinga had 7 points. I don't think he had a single point in that round, if I'm not mistaken. Let's double check on that. Let's see. We want to go game stats. Yeah, game logs. Yeah, he did not have a single point in that series against the Devils. So yeah, the Devils did a really good job at shutting down our top line. Macklin had 7 points. Green was on 6. Like, we had some good depth scoring, I'd say, still. But obviously our top guys like Hromis and all that were shut down a lot. Hromis only had 1 goal all playoffs, and that came in that round. Nakamura was honestly one of the most effective players, coming in with 3 assists in 4 games on offense. And then, of course, our bottom 6 got kind of destroyed a bit defensively in that last game. So the plus minuses don't really affect it, but I'd say we need to find that offensive game, pretty much. From a defensive standpoint, Andrews led the way defensively for points. That's kind of insane. 3 points for him and Lee. Maltby and Albertozer had 2 points. Paco had 1 point in 2 games, of course. And Urquhart had 1 assist, but was -5. Urquhart continues to be a bit of a plus-minus kind of guy, where he's really bad plus-minus-ish. -5 this year, -4 last year. And then during the regular season, his plus-minus has always been kind of lower end of things. Antonio had no points whatsoever, but at least was good defensively. But did take a bit too many penalties, maybe. And then from a goaltending perspective, like I said, I think the MVP of the playoffs this year has to be Akeem Forster. It was a fantastic season for him. He scored a goal, and he posted a .935 in 7 playoff games this year. And shout out to Kavapol as well. He was really good when he played last round. Well, that kind of sucks. That kind of sucks. Yeah, I'd say definitely the depth scoring needs to be improved. Maybe some discipline would be good. Law had 27 penalty minutes, apparently, which I don't even know which games those came in. Let's actually look at that for a second. He had a fight in that last game. Probably was mad that we were losing or something like that. Had 10 penalty minutes against the Rangers one game, so he fought 2 people then. Yeah, he's definitely fighting a lot still, but I don't really mind it, to be honest. I know it's a little bit of a liability having a guy take that much penalty minutes, but he's a fun player. He had 4 assists in 10 games, so he did help us out with some of the offense on the team too. So, yeah, I would say good playoffs, great defensive play, but obviously offense needed to improve. And I think obviously we could get that still to improve with some of the guys coming from the AHL, hopefully next season or in a couple seasons. All right, final few things we got to do to end off this episode is find out who wins the Stanley Cup, the draft lottery results, what the draft class looks like, that type of thing. But we do have enough time for it, so let's get to that and find out who wins the Stanley Cup in 2036. My guess it will be New Jersey, but I don't know who they're going to end up facing for the Cup Finals. It could be Montreal again too, because Montreal's been very good in the series up to this point. So the Stanley Cup champion for 2036 will be the New Jersey Devils. See, I kind of felt like it. They got to the finals, I'm pretty sure, last year and lost. So I kind of felt like with them beating us that they'd have a good chance this year. So they end up winning. And Hershey ends up winning the Calder Cup. What else is new? Hershey always seems to win Calder Cups in real life too. So shout out to the New Jersey Devils. We lost to the best team in the NHL. I will not complain. I will not complain. And like I said, we could have definitely had a closer series. I think it was a pretty close series, actually, for the most part. Like a couple empty net goals, a late goal against, that type of thing made the difference. But it was New Jersey versus LA in the Cup Finals, and New Jersey won at 7, so it was a rematch of 2012, basically. As New Jersey also knocked out the Habs in that conference finals, so yeah, all right. So there is the playoff tree. Let's take a look at the rest of the awards. So yeah, New Jersey wins the Stanley Cup. Last year was Calgary, so it must have been a New Jersey-Calgary Cup Finals last year. Yeah, it was. Okay, yeah. So yeah, New Jersey is definitely a threat of a team, and even though they finished lower than us in the season, they were technically the better of the two teams on paper. All right, in terms of individual awards, Demidov wins the Art Ross. I think that might be the first time in his career. Also the Hart. Noah Dobson wins the Norris, so Montreal just stacking up those awards. Demidov the Bing. Simmons wins the Calder for Vancouver. Jack Hughes won the Conn Smythe. Not really surprised. He was pretty good against us. Dustin Wolf the Vezina, another Montreal award. Same with the Jennings. Busanus for the Mammoth wins the Masterton. And then also Marco Sturm, who's now apparently the head coach of the Mammoth, wins the Jack Adams. So shout out to Marco Sturm, German GOAT. Adam Fantilli wins the Selke for Vegas. Demidov wins the Lindsay. And Bedard wins his second straight Richard. Should just change it to the Connor Bedard Trophy instead of the Maurice Richard Trophy, right? AHL-wise, any interesting names down there? Potentially. And not really. Nobody that I really know. So, there you go. All right. Well, we've seen the awards for the season. Now, obviously, we got to find out about this upcoming draft class. Because now, we kind of focus our attention to having, hopefully, a good offseason ahead as well. Hopefully some smart decisions, as Dallas will have the first overall pick, followed by Detroit, Columbus, Florida, and Seattle. All right. Obviously, we're going to be drafting kind of late, which is going to be weird, but hopefully we can make some good picks with those selections. Okay, who retired this season? Who retired? Best forward to retire is Jack Eichel, who retired as a Canadian. That's interesting. So he ended up signing with the Habs in the offseason, damn, and put up 75 points in the last season, but could not help them win another Stanley Cup. Marner also retired, Strome, so some pretty big names on offense, it looks like. So there we go. Jack Drury actually retired after beating us and winning a Stanley Cup, so shout out to him. Best defenseman, Zach Werenski, 979 points. McAvoy, Chikrin, some good defenders too. What about goalies? Best goaltender retire, Thatcher Demko, I mean, that's pretty solid. Logan Thompson, Dan Vladar. Not a bad goaltending tandem, or people, I should say. Whoever Pastava is. I don't even know. Who did Pastava ever play for? Oh, a game with Detroit. That's interesting. Kind of surprised he played a game with Detroit, being that low of an overall. All right, so there is all that. Final few things we got to take a look at. Eichel's apparently head coach. That's kind of a thing I don't know if I'd ever expect Jack Eichel being a head coach, but he is a good player. But would he be a good coach? Tough to say. But Montreal might have a new head coach on their hands in the future. In terms of coach retirements, we did lose Letowski in the AHL, which I don't know if that was our head coach or not, but that would kind of suck if it was the case. We did not lose an NHL coach, though, which is good. So we do need to bring in a new coach in the offseason for the replacement for Letowski, but that's it. All right, draft interviews. We might as well look into this already. So let's see what we could potentially draft. I don't even know where we're drafting. It was the problem. So do I really want to do draft interviews right now? Yeah, we could probably do some if there's anybody that hasn't been fully scouted that we need to scout out. So let's start by looking at Germany. What do we got? Medium top 6 forward and Braun. If we're drafting around 18 to 21, Braun's actually kind of a perfect player for that spot. But he's probably guaranteed like 65. There's also a low elite right defenseman, late first round, in Rylan Powell. And, ooh, he's looking fantastic. Let's go. That's a massive dub. Making the playoffs and being able to get an NHL-ready player would be great. And the great thing about him is since he's NHL ready, he would fully replace Albertoza right away in our lineup. And then eventually, he could be a replacement maybe for Dave Antonio. Potentially. Because there's other guys in the system that could replace Albertoza down the road too. So, Powell might be really high on my list as a potential pick. Because he looks really good. Braun would be a solid offensive player. But Powell could help us with the offense from the back end. He also does have good defensive stick apparently. So, that's nice. But yeah, I think Powell right now is my top option as our selection this year. Aside from that, let's scroll through the rest of these names, some top nines and all that. Nobody I'd need to interview because everybody's getting fully scouted, which is good. So yeah, I'd say for sure Powell is one of the top picks we're going to be looking at. Switzerland, Mickelson, top 6 forward. He's not bad either, but he's another probably 65 or so. There's also Aho, another 65 overall, so probably a little bit lower than that because he doesn't have 3B stats. I would assume like a 63, 62. But yeah, none of these guys are as intriguing as that low elite. Czech Extra Liga. Rushinsky is also a medium top 6. Probably like a 67 overall based on the 4B stats. Maybe a little bit lower than that. Or a bit higher even. These guys, there is a medium 6 that's supposed to go late in the draft. That's 19. I mean, I might just take him for the potential at that point. So, Gruel, the Bosnian guy, is only a low 7th. That kind of sucks. From Austria, Peter Bondra is only a low top 6. Damn, man, I was hoping he'd be a medium 6, but he still could be a low top 6 that develops. We could take him in the second round, maybe, if he's around our spot. But who knows if he will go beforehand or not. It'd be kind of funny if he went to Washington still, though. Sweden. Burgundy is also medium 6, but he's going earlier than our selection likely, so we probably won't get him. Aside from that, what else we got here? Not really a lot else in Sweden. That's interesting. Finland? Not really a lot else there, except for Crosby, who's a medium 9. I think outside of the first round, we're not really going to get too much this year. Tambellini's a medium elite goalie, though. I mean, do we need more medium elite goalies? Probably not. But we could. He's a gem, too. There's also Macaulay, who's not fully scouted. I don't really know if I really even want to do any interviews with some of these dudes. Ott, what is Ott looking like? 4 years out. Not terrible, I guess. But yeah, outside of the first round, I don't think we're really going to get that much, unfortunately. McInnes, what do you look like? 3 years out, you're probably maybe like you could be a top 6 maybe, but a low 6 or something too. And that's it, I think, right? Yeah, that's it. So the only player that really screams like we have to take for sure in the first round is going to be from, was it from Switzerland? That was Germany, right? Yeah, Powell. Powell's got to be the first rounder, in my opinion. He's got to be. Like I said, perfect replacement for Albertoza early as next season. That way we don't have to rush the other defensemen in the AHL. Powell could literally hop in right away. And if we end up losing Dave Antonio within these next few seasons, Powell's the replacement in that top 4 for him. And one of the other defensemen in the AHL could replace Albertoza's top 6 spot. So I think that's the plan. Aside from that, there's literally not a lot else. Like, there is some good players supposed to go in the first round, but the second round and all that, we are going to be getting stuck with some medium 9s and all that, I think, which is not great. So, I like that the first round's going to be good, but I don't think the other rounds are going to be really useful for us. So, we know who we're going to draft, which is good in the first round at least. Final few things we got to take a look at is the contract situation and progress reports. So, starting off with those progress reports. Any crazy good growth from any of our players? Benaxian 87 at 29. Green's an 83 still. Mullins is 78. Mullins' contract is kind of still looking a bit iffy, but he'll still be a useful player for a bit. Barrett's a 77. How is Barrett a 77? He should be still an 80 at this point. He had a 42-point season last year. Huh. That's kind of weird. Rankin's at 76. Rankin's pretty close to being back on that 4th line spot. Which is unfortunate because I liked how Miller played in the playoffs. But Rankin's almost ready to make his jump up again. Fernandez is ready too, pretty much. Fernandez is looking good, 76. Yeah, those guys both could probably make the NHL. And Fernandez has 89 passing. Offensive awareness is getting better. His face-offs are still only 66, but they are improving. So, yeah, I'm excited about Fernandez and Rankin being back. But like I said, Miller, having him go back down kind of seems like a wasted opportunity because he was really good on that PK. But we could obviously use him as a depth forward if we want. Left wing side of things, Klinga is still 91, Lawson 84, Nichols is 76. And in right wing, we have Horomis as a 90. McElhinney's only an 83, but still this is a second liner. Bradford 82 and Nakamura 82. All right. Yeah, at least our right wing side of things looks pretty deep. Defensively, Paco's a 91, of course. Antonio 88. So Dave Antonio is back to exact elite. And like I said, his contract comes to an end soon. So that's why I'm thinking about drafting at right defenseman. Lee's an 87, which is great. Urquhart's 84, Andrews 82, Alpato's an 81. But he is listed as a top 4, and he might be heading to free agency. Also, we got to think about Brad Andrews, too, being listed as a top 4, how we could get guys like that more ice time. But I think somebody here might be gone this offseason. Goaltending side of things, Forster's only an 83, which is kind of stupid because I feel like he's better than that. And then Gotch is a 77 still, but he will be probably higher next season. In the system, Kavapol's 76 didn't get any growth. This might be the last we see of him. He might head to free agency because Simic's up to a 75. Cantor's still a third-string goaltender pretty much. And then Bull's a 67. And then Koch is a 61. Yeah, Kavapol might be let go of the next episode if you guys think it's necessary. From a defensive standpoint, Maltby's 75. Ullman's a 74, but he's not ready yet. And that's why that other defenseman might help out a lot. Richardson's also a right defenseman that's low elite though too. I forgot about him. He's up to a 70, which is great, but he's not ready for the NHL yet. So Richardson could be the guy that plays on the top 6 pairing when he comes in a few years. And obviously, if we draft Powell could be the guy that's in the top 6 for now, but eventually goes to the top 4. And then guys like Rakunik are growing still, which is good. So we are getting some growth. And Polak went up to a 66 as a medium forward that was drafted in round 4. So that's actually decent. So I'll take it. Some good growth there. Forward side of things, looks like we're getting more growth from all these guys as well, which is nice, even though some of them don't have much potential. Camper's up to a 73. That's not bad. It's a low 6. Lowly, Kuda's only up to a 59. So obviously he was a late round pick, but hopefully he continues to get better. Festerling. All right. Centers. I mean, getting a little bit of growth from Bieksa and Bladder, but not much else on the center department. Like guys like Romano aren't growing much. All right, but yeah, I think we'll be really good again next season. It just really depends on who we lose and who comes in to replace them. But let's look at that contract situation now. Speaking of which, so yeah, Nakamura's an RFA again. We gotta definitely play Nakamura. I don't know how much he wants. Let's see how much he wants. 4.55. Yeah, he's going to be relatively cheap, but I don't know if we want to get him on a long-term deal yet or not. Albatozer's a pending UFA, and like I said, we could easily replace him. 3.95, replace him with that defenseman that we could just draft ahead. I think it's almost time for Albatozer, unfortunately, to leave. Nichols and all these guys, they might want one-way contracts. Let's see. Nichols wants a 2-way, so that's fine. We could always bring him back for the AHL. Rankin is ready to come back to the NHL, but he still wants a 2-way contract. He's probably going to be our 4th-line center next season, or maybe higher than that if he continues to grow. But yeah, we only have at least, I guess, one big contract to deal with, other than Nakamura, which is Albatozer. But like I said, I think I might want to let him walk. Goaltending-wise, Kavapol, like I said, I think we might have to think about letting him go because we have just too many goaltenders at this point. So we could use him as a 3rd-string goalie in the NHL still, but if we do, like I said, Simic is very close to being ready, so Kavapol only could get like maybe a 1-year deal on his contract at most. If he gets outgrown somehow, though, by the goalie in the AHL and Simic, what are we going to do as the backup behind Forster? That's going to be a weird scenario. Yeah, I don't know how we're going to go about doing that, but the team is going to be really good again next season for sure. I'm just curious on obviously the cap space situation and who's going to have to get sent down to the AHL that we won't want. So Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our European United Draft Glory franchise mode. So in next episode, we will take it to another offseason. We'll look to maintain this roster as much as possible, but also injecting maybe a couple prospects into our lineup next season, including the guy that we might draft with our first pick, because we will be drafting Paredes late in the first round. I think we should be able to get that defenseman in Powell. I don't think he'll go earlier. And then obviously, like I said, our defensive core will get a little bit of injection that should help us out in terms of being a better team in the future too. And that way we won't have to overpay on some people down the road. So think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.